Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 257 of Dial the Gate, the Stargate Oral History Project. My name is David Reed. I appreciate you being here for this one. It's a little later than we usually do, but it's nice to have an evening one every once in a while. I think I look better in this lighting, for instance, with the sun not blaring through the window. Peter Flemming, Agent Malcolm Barrett, Stargate SG-1, and Stargate Atlantis as well. Welcome to my show, sir. How you doing?
Thank you, David, sir. I'm doing really good.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It is. It seems like another life, actually, to be honest with you.
It's been...
but a life that I had a lot of fun with.
Yeah. What's been keeping you busy lately? You steeped in projects? How's the industry going up there?
Well, you know, it's funny you caught me at this time, David, because I haven't been acting.
Oh, really?
I built a voiceover studio in my house, and I just wake up and work in my underwear, and I love it. I don't have to travel. I don't, just blah, 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 and I'm done, and I can go walk and drink my coffee and shoot the shit with my boys, and I'm good. But I'm doing a movie next week. First time in some years. Yeah.
Can you talk about it a little bit? Are you allowed to?
I think, well, it's kind of a fun story.
Okay.
So I've been in Vancouver for 30 years, off and on in LA, of course. But the first lead that I had in a film in Vancouver was 30 years ago. And so out of the blue, I get a call from the director of that movie that I did 30 years ago last year. And he says, Peter, I this might sound crazy, but I'm thinking of doing a sequel to Love 4. But I'm only going to do it if you are in it. I'm trying to track down everybody and, see. So I said, well, I kind of gave it up. I mean, for now, I'm sure I'll be an actor again at some point, but I'm like, you know what? Out of principle, yeah, let's do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So it's a good script. I actually like the character. I just hope I can remember the freaking lines, because there's a lot of lines.
Well, I've heard that when you get back into it, it's like riding a bike for some people. Although it takes a few days to really, you're not necessarily going to be the sponge that you once were. But this is a character that you're familiar with, I'm guessing. So that you started with 30 years ago.
Familiar in one way, but 30 years is a long time.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like, I guess, familiar, but 30 years is 30 years. But the character, he's a pretty good writer too. It's actually, I'm like, I thought I was going to be like, nah, okay, yeah, I'll do it. But the more that I read it, I'm like, oh, I might get into this a little bit. I think I like this dude. I like this character.
Absolutely.
So we'll see, man. If I can pull this off, fuck, good for me.
No, yeah. Absolutely. For sure. So the original film was called Love 4.
And this is
Love 5?
No, Love. What is it? Love. Shit, I should know it, right? Love 4.5 or so. I don't know, something like that. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm sure it's around there somewhere.
Interesting. Peter Flemming as Ron, Love 2. So it's like a designation.
Love 2, exactly. Yes. So this is so it's a rom-com, and it's 4 sections of people experiencing their romance in their own personal matrix. Okay. Right? So, yeah.
Are they electronic people?
No, matrix just sort of being an analogy of life.
Okay. Can you do me a favor? Can you try and tilt up that funky wobbly camera for me just a little bit? I'm losing your head, but I don't want it to fall on you again.
We don't like that. How is that? Okay.
That's actually better. That works too. Oh. Okay. So as long as it stays.
Like I have to.
Well, you can if you can tilt it a little bit down, but everyone listening, just before we were having difficulty keeping it in place. So there we go.
I know. I'm not technically savvy guy. I should have lighting and a nice thing in it, but yeah.
You haven't been acting. You've been voicing.
I
So
know, right? I don't need any of that
that's
stuff.
it. I've been talking a few weeks ago with Gildert Jackson, who
Oh,
has. Are you familiar with him?
I'm not. I don't know him, but I'm familiar.
Right. He's been doing a lot of voiceover work and recording of audiobooks, and he loves it. There's something, like you say, about being in your own environment, going at your own pace, getting a chance to
Well,
perfect
I mean,
something.
Graham, audiobooks, no way. The less lines, I mean, they pay me big money to say a few words, right? That's where I like to be. I ain't fucking, I'm not, can I F-bomb on this
I
place? I
guess
don't know.
so.
But no, there's no way I'm reading 150,000 words for 5 or 10 grand or whatever. No, no, no. That's a real job.
Okay.
That's a real job. No, I like the 10 words. I'm like, 1 a.m, pelting rain, days straight out of apocalypse now. Part-time job turned into full-time migraine. Cut. There's your check. Thank you.
Part-time job, full grant migrant. Is that an Advil commercial?
That's just one of, I don't even know what it was. It just went, one of the voiceover ads I did, I think for, what was it for? What was that one for? Drinking and driving.
Oh, good. Hey,
Driving.
very good one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good excuse. Tell
Yes.
me about auditioning for this role. This
Which role?
character, this one guy that I've heard of by the name of Agent Malcolm Barrett. You may be
Ah,
familiar with him. He appeared in the 100th, believe this, 100 episodes of a TV show called Stargate SG-1. 99 had come before without this guy.
I know.
This must be like
I remember.
bonus territory at this point, for a show that gets to last so long. Tell me about that time.
Well, David, it's kind of it's a pretty funny story when I think back about it, right? Because I mean, all the conventions I've been at, all the interviews. I mean, you guys know how much I enjoyed the show,
Yeah.
how much I loved, working with Amanda,
Yeah.
and being Barrett. I mean, I loved every bit of it. I mean, it was a great character. It was a great crew. It was just fun to go to work, and it was just a blast. But the story. So at that time, I was starting to do more guest stars and leads, right? So my agent, I remember Richard Lucas at the time, he's like, well, Peter, they want you in for Stargate. There's no name. It just says Man in Black. I don't know. It said possibly recurring. And it's only, it's a few lines. And, I think because of the possibly recurring, we should go in. We should, because when agents and actors talk with each other, they speak of we, right? So I think we should do this. I think we should go in and do this. And of course, I was a little younger then and probably had more attitude. And I was like, nah. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever, I'll go in. And that's the day that I met Peter DeLuise.
Oh.
Because he was directing the session. And I remember it was like 2 or 3 lines. I can't even remember what it was, But I remember locking eyes with Pete behind his little cubicle there. And I just knew he was going to cast me. I was just by that little smirk he had. And I had the same smirk. I was like, all right, we're working together. Nice. I like it. And I remember doing that episode. And then, I ended up working with, DeLuise, like 10 other times or something, and they made, not only did they make Barrett, a good character in the show, but they really, the episodes that Agent Barrett was in, he was in front to back. Like I mean, when they came to Earth, I mean, he was the guy. Like he was in almost
He's facilitating.
right. And every scene, I mean, this guy was, as I look back, he was a big part of that show when they came to Earth. But yeah, to answer your question, Man in Black was the audition that I had, and there was 4 or 5 lines. And look what happens, right? So ego schmigo, right? Like take your opportunities when you can get them. And I learned from that, and I did.
You never know. I love pointing at your character because In the
Yes.
Stargate circles, there are arguments about what is real and what is not real. And the 200th episode returned the theme of Wormhole Extreme, but it is pretty concretely determined to be not a real show. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
hey, this is one for the fans. It has nothing with it to do with continuity at all. And so the argument has always been made, then Wormhole Extreme isn't either, because of all the wacky stuff going on in it. And it's like, there's a character that's introduced in this episode by name who continues to recur through pretty much the rest of the franchise, and that was you.
Yes.
And it's like, this one is a real show.
So Wormhole was the next time I appeared after the 100th episode?
The 100th episode was Wormhole Extreme.
That's what I thought. Yeah, okay, that's what I was like. Well, wait a sec. Yeah. But then after that, so it was, then I did, and I guess I'm not to off track of what you're saying, but
no, what I'm saying is irrelevant.
No,
Go ahead.
But what I really appreciated, especially about Peter, was his belief in me and the character, and writing Agent Barrett, more and more scenes, and giving him a much more well-rounded character, a character that the viewing audience can start to enjoy, and for him, I thought that was great. This just clicked to me. I'm going to tell you, I could tell it to you now. It's a Peter DeLuise.
Let's hear it. The Peter's one of my favorite people, so lay it on me.
So I think whoever's watching this, all the fans that are watching this, will really, whether you agreed with it or not, but it's a really interesting story. And I can say this now. I don't think I could have said this back then. So in Vancouver, it's a pretty close-knit community anyway. So I'm walking down in Kitts on 4th Avenue, and who comes across the street? DeLuise. And I had already done maybe 4 or 5 episodes, I think. Okay. Anyway, it was right around the time before they launched Atlantis. Oh. Now, you may not even know this. I don't even think what I'm about to say, probably only maybe the producers and DeLuise knew. So, charge. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the story.
Yeah.
They were coming up with different ideas for a new Stargate show. I think SG-1 had ran, I don't know how many seasons it had ran up until that point before Atlantis started. I don't know if 7. You knew that. 7, thank you, yeah. So in around the 5th and 6th year, they were starting to think, what can we piggyback off this? And their developmental ideas and writing and stuff like that. So it turns out that myself and Amanda Tapping were in the front line with Atlantis to have our own piggyback show of Stargate. So, of course, Atlantis won. We all know Atlantis won. It turns out to be a fantastic show. But their competition / rivals at that time, without a name attached to it, was Barrett and Carter.
Because SG-1 was going off the air after season 7. There wasn't going to be any more. Something was going to take over. It was either the SG-1 season 7's finale had the idea of the movie that they were going to pitch, and then they were going to do something else. But they were trying to figure out what that was. Wow. That's really cool.
I think
Stargate Adventures of Agent Barrett and Samantha Carter.
Right? I think it's a great tidbit, for everybody to kind of, chew on a little bit, like anybody that really liked that relationship between Barrett and Carter. Who knows if it would have had legs? Who knows, what would have happened? But, as I watched a few of the episodes with Amanda and I, there's definitely a fun little chemistry there that could have went a lot of different ways.
If nothing else, on the professional side, it could have been a Scully-Mulder relationship. Maybe personal after a few years, but I definitely saw that.
Exactly. And I think, I was going to say that if you didn't, but that's the template I think that they we're sort of, riffing off of, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I totally forgot about until now. Yeah, I'll never
Wow.
forget. And Deloise, right? He's like, you didn't hear, you didn't hear from me. I'm
So
just
this
saying.
in Kits, this conversation happened.
Yep,
Wow.
yep. In Kits on, and Peter will remember it. Of course, he'll remember it.
He's coming on in 2 weeks. I'll ask him.
Yeah, of course he'll remember it. So it was on the corner. He'll know it. It was right by the Whole Foods. It was on the corner of not you, whatever the next one is. You and Fourth and around whatever the next one is, where the Safeway is. It was right on that corner.
The Safeway.
Yeah, by the Safeway on Fourth and Balsam or you or whatever it is.
Okay, I'm going to make him go there, and we're going to reenact it for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I'm sure I can't get in trouble for it now. Of course, after he left, he goes, dude, please don't, you can't say anything. I can't. No, I'm good, Peter. I already forget it before you. But after he left, I was just like, but of course it never happened.
Well, the fact of the matter is they continued to bring you back because the character had legs. Your role was instrumental in that. Everyone that we had seen from NID headquarters was a chump. They all had their own agenda and were trying to get after something politically. And this guy was a straight arrow. He was interested in nothing but the truth and protecting the folks who were going through that damn thing, every week. And it was such a nice refresh because that was like in season 6, there were a couple of episodes where even Sam was like, I think I can trust this guy, but I'm not sure. And it's like, is he going to betray us? Is he going to do his own thing? Or is he going to help us out? And the character did. And that's really cool.
But that's cool too. Like you said, they were all chumps. So it adds to that subplot of it all. It's like, oh, we can't, so it gives everybody time to sort of figure, oh yeah, he's good. He's good. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. Washington, a cesspit. No one's ever thought of that before. So, jeez. Yeah. Wow.
But I
did not know that.
What I really, thinking back, what I really liked about Barrett and Carter was just, I don't know if you remember, but just some of those episodes where it's like, like I've talked to, some fans that follow me or wrote to me or whatever. It's like, oh, I just wanted you and Amanda so bad, to get together. But we always had that, I don't like, we'd walk away from a scene and, you'd see me tap her back or like, that scene where it's like, I don't know, I just thought if you weren't doing anything, maybe we could, go out sometime. Just all those fun little pieces. She's like, what? No. But, if that had time, right?
Correct.
We might have turned those no into, okay, let's go.
Let's have coffee.
Right.
And who certainly have got stuff to talk about. And there's not a lot of people that she can talk about with work,
Exactly.
So that's a big deal for people to be able to confide in someone about this top secret stuff that most people can't, when they go home, they can't even tell their families. What happened today, sweetie? Oh, an alien race invaded the base. What? I got to kill you now. Jeez. I do believe had they had more time together and had Jack not been a part of the equation, believe
Jack's a big part of the equation,
right? Yeah. Absolutely. I do think that there could have been something long term. And Peter, Malcolm was always checking in with her. How's Pete? How you doing? Oh, we're not really with each other. Oh, really? Everything okay? Yes, everything's fine. I'm taking a break from everything. It was he cared about her,
Yeah.
And you made it realistic.
And of course we don't have, real time in the movie world to let those things develop. But if there had have been, time that, it would be a perfect mirror, of real life where the guy just comes in as a friend or a coworker. And then after a couple of years, like, hey, do we kind of like each other? I don't know. I'm just saying.
A spark is not always immediate.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Or it might be for somebody and then they have to have patience which is probably, I think, a little bit more on the Malcolm, as far as Stargate goes.
He doesn't strike me as a guy who was, out after one night stands. You know,
Definitely not.
He struck me more of a, as like a, Kevin Costner bodyguard type of guy. He's going home and he's making himself a screwdriver or something else and just kind of chilling after work, putting his sidearm down and, goes to bed. Next day he gets up and does the same thing again. So absolutely. That's true. Tell me.
Did I send you my side notes? I mean, because that's what I had. Kevin Costner, screwdriver at home.
Hey,
But yeah, I agree.
Tell me about Amanda Tapping. What is she like? Have you been directed by her yet? I think you were. I think you were in. I think you were in. Her first directing at the end of season 7.
So I did. What was the? I should go get it because.
Episode name.
On my Instagram. I had some
Resurrection.
I had a script of what Resurrection, right?
Yeah.
So I had a script of Resurrection, and this was the only episode where it was written by a main cast member and directed by a main cast member. Hence, Michael Shanks being the writer and Amanda being the director. So it is one of a kind. Right?
Absolutely correct.
It is one of a kind. And boy, I like, again, it's been a while, but my memories of Amanda is like, she's a fucking machine. Like, not only is she a machine, but she just does it all so well. Like, I would just get tired watching her sometimes. Like she, and then, when she wore the role of director and then still, I mean, her dialogue, right? Like, right.
It's a lot of hats you're asking someone to wear for 6 or 7 days of photography. Yeah,
on a show that's quite large in spectrum, and she just took it on like a pro, man. Like I was amazed just watching it all.
My understanding was that very similar to Jonathan Frakes. That first day that she walked on set for revisions, she walked on set a director, and she's still doing it now. 20 years and change later, something was working.
And not a lot of people have that ability. Not a lot of people have that energy. She reminds me of one of my best buddies, Tom Cavanaugh, who is an actor. I don't know if I'm sure quite a successful fella, but had gone on and directed. He was in The Flash and gone on and directed episodes of The Flash, and now he directs big blockbuster shows, but he still acts. And I mean, just the energy he has is like, it's like Amanda, right? Like they're both male and female versions of each other. They have enough energy for like a whole community, like, so my buddies and I, we just watched Kavanaugh and just like, man, I don't know, but it's the same. I think I've not often, but maybe a few times, if I was talking about either one of them, said that, that's the female or male version of each other. They both have that ability to just not sleep and get it done.
Do you think that you couldn't pull it off if you were to rise to the challenge or be invited to rise to the challenge? Do you really think it is just a them kind of thing? Or do you think that we all have it in us to exhaust ourselves in that way? Or is it in some cases, pure talent? Like that is a very specific set of skills in one person.
It's a great question. I'm going to be as humble as I can when I say this, but I know that I could do it.
Yeah.
And do it well. I just require more sleep. And
absolutely.
As you know, being a director is like being a Jenny op, right? You don't sleep.
No, you don't rest.
So I think it is talent, of course, but it's all the composition. It's all your makeup as a human as well. Like all those factors, play a big part in it. So
there's a lot there you're not just running, a group of 100, 150 people. You're pursuing a vision. You're hoping that, everyone is going to be in line with that vision, and stuff happens that you've got to be prepared for because wrenches are going to be thrown at you, and how you handle those challenges are a description of your character.
Yeah.
So, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a great point too. Like all of the, all the things that are in a day on set that are coming your way that, you need to be changed, want to be changed. You have to make decisions. You collaborate with them. I mean, there's just so many hats you have to wear.
Hmm.
I'm just like, wow,
How some people
wow.
do it, and with like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, day in and
Yeah.
day out. I had
Well,
an
I'm sure
interesting.
Matt's the same, but yeah, Tom's like, oh, I need 4 hours. 4 hours is good. 4 hours is just like a start for me. Like
Yeah,
I need,
I was
yeah.
talking with John Smith a couple of months ago, executive producer on SG-1 Atlantis and
Smitty
Universe. He's a good guy, and
loves Smitty.
he's a great guy, and he talked about how you really are, for a lot of people, burning the candle at both ends, and people
Yeah.
behind the lines in some cases die much earlier because if you look back on their body of work, the work has just exhausted them, and the exhaustion accumulates. Your body can't handle it.
And
So
it's a great point, right? And sometimes we get caught in the formula of life. Let's say I'm filming TV and forget about ourselves, right? Ourselves don't even matter, our the merit in the work and what we do, regardless if I don't sleep or
yeah,
don't live past 50 or 60, that's
yeah.
irrelevant. I'm in the machine.
There's a
I'm
high
focused.
in
I'm
the
in the
work.
machine.
There's a natural high that you get out of the
Huge, huge. Yeah.
out of making an end product that everyone loves to collaborate with, even if they don't watch it in the end. A lot
Yeah.
of talent don't watch their work. It's what's the next thing. I'm over here. I'm ready to go. So now
I
what,
think
Coach?
speaking of John Smith, I always used to enjoy. Well, I enjoyed. I've had a few good conversations with John, but you're never, when you're an actor, and especially if you're in the last shot of the day and you're running behind, and the exec shows up on set. It's never a good feeling, right? It's never. It's like, oh shit, Smitty's here. I still got fucking 10 pages of dialogue. They're 3 hours over. Jesus,
TikTok.
I mean, there's already enough heat on me, John. Can you just like go over, just leave, will you? But anyway, John, one of my favorite. He's a great guy, but he owns a seafood oyster shop over in Gibson's, which is an island, the mainland here in Vancouver. With
Yeah.
my buddy Stafford, they have a really good oyster shop over in Gibson's, where an old show called The Beachcombers used to air. You're probably too young for that one,
Along
David.
with his boat, the the
Uh,
the the bad guy's boat. He was in charge
yeah.
of it. He told me that whole story. So
Okay, then I'll leave it alone.
man was born on the water. So
Yeah.
I don't know if technically, but yes, very much so. You fall in love with certain things, and especially someone like John, who you look for people who can remain cool under pressure. Because, like you say, at the end of the day,
Definitely.
you still have 10 pages to go. But I would imagine with Stargate that didn't happen often.
No, it didn't, because it was such a well-oiled machine. I mean, everybody from the Jenny op to hair to makeup to the grips to the camera. I mean, everybody was there and enjoyed what they were doing. It was just one of those sets where you went to where you just knew it was super professional and
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't happen a lot, right? Like, and I guess, with chemistry, I mean, that maybe that wasn't in the first year, or maybe, it developed over time. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
shows don't get to develop over time like that. But even shows that I've been on that have been around for a while, this was even more special. It was, you could just tell everybody cared. It's that energy, right?
Everybody loved what they were doing. I
That's
was. Is this the same episode that I'm thinking of? Yeah, that you were in an episode called X Deus Machina, and you know what? You were on set the same day I was. I remember this now. You had just opening doors in my mind. You had a scene with Beau Bridges upstairs, in the
I
briefing room.
I loved working with Beau.
Great
Beau
guy.
was awesome.
And I'm
Yeah.
downstairs in the control room listening to you guys upstairs, and I hear cut, and then the bell rings, and it's like those moments as a fan really stick with me. But later
I bet.
on,
Yeah.
there was we went to Norco, and then we came back, and it started raining, and you can hear. It's probably one of my most vivid memories of being on the set of production. And I think that you were there, interrogating Cliff Simon, and the rain starts coming down on the set. The what now?
God rest his soul.
Absolutely, 100%.
I miss Cliff and I used to enjoy the conventions together. And anyway, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but what a special man.
No, I mean, tell me about working with him and doing the conventions with him. Everyone loved Cliff.
I want to talk a little bit about my relationship with Beau as well, but
yeah,
Cliff, God, what can I say about Cliff?
Another guy who loved the water.
Cliff, like myself, no, he's even way better than me. We were always the guys at the conventions that would just sort of find each other, sit in the corner, and just be simple with each other. Just really enjoy each other. Didn't matter what we talked about. And all the hype was going on. You got to be there. But when we found each other, just like, hey man, it's just a real simple way of being with Cliff. Cliff had a real honest, deeper character about himself that if you were connected to that, it was just really fun to be around him. Whatever the opposite of a showboat way is, if you could sit with him in his presence and just enjoy the simplicity of conversation, boy, he was powerful that way.
There was something very worldly about him. And I cannot recommend enough his book. I have the version on Audible, Paris Nights, My Year in the Moulin Rouge. I'm so glad he did that because he's gone now. There was something about him that really connected with what it is to be a good, decent human being. And a firm distinction of knowing right from wrong that I rarely see in other humans.
That's, boy, however you just summed that up, that's on his headstone somewhere. But yeah, that's him. That's him to distinguish between right and wrong, and not just from a conceptual, intellectual place, but plus from a place of depth, from really understanding those words in his character, and not. I mean, I know he had fun. He's a great actor, but he didn't seem to really need it, in a way. I don't want to undermine his ability in any way, shape, or form, but he had a real contentment, a deeper contentment about him that he was able to enjoy, the film and TV world. But yeah, he was quite settled in a very content, fun way.
I definitely agree. You got the impression that he was doing it first and foremost because he enjoyed it. So,
yes,
absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I just segue to Beau quickly.
Yes, a tour de force. What a force to be reckoned with. When he's on stage, he knows what he's doing.
It's just Beau. He's just classic, man. Wisdom. I was having, and I think, God, was this, I forget which episode it was. You may know. I think it was when John came to set. And I had, because I was saying earlier that I had these 10 pages or something, and it was with Beau. So to make it worse, we were around this corner or we had to do a walk and talk, right? A oneer on the walk and talk. I forget how many pages, but it was long. It was a long oneer, right? And I was having trouble with my dialogue. I was a little bit nervous. I was speedy and I couldn't get it. There was a lot of tough words there, and I'd fuck up on one. And the thing with the oneer is that, when you fuck up, you got to go back to ones again, right? You can't, you're not like stopping and starting halfway, So every time I get close to the end, fuck, back to ones. And Beau just said, hold up, stop. Pete, come here, come here. He said, listen, he said, when we do this scene, he said, you don't have to walk fast. You know, you say the dialogue as fast as you want, but you just walk slow, my friend. You walk slow through this. Right? You don't have to walk fast. You don't have to talk fast. You take your time. Just because you're moving doesn't mean everything has to move. You slow down, man. Have fun. Take your time, right?
Wow.
And just, Beau, I mean, that's the bad impress, but just his calmness and wisdom. And I just and I think the next take we nailed it, and he just, gave each other the high five or whatever. But yeah, I'll never forget it. Like I was on take 10 or take 11, and I think John was there, and we were, well over time, and he just settled me down and nailed the next take. I remember that.
This had to have been that same week. I doubt it was the same
Maybe
day.
Maybe it was. Yeah.
When we got back from Norco and the rain is hitting the roof, and we're in one of the labs outside of it, waiting for Darren and I from Gate World, waiting for an opportunity to interview one of the principals. Pretty much all of them were there, and the publicist Bridget Prochaska or Carol Appleby, one of them, came over to us and they said, we're probably not going to interview so-and-so. So-and-so's having a really hard time with their lines tonight. And it was getting later into the evening. And you're sitting there saying, if we get it, we get it. If not, we don't. And it was one of those situations where we just, well, this is not going to happen. But the crew rallied around them, because it was a lot of dialogue, which frequently happened. One of the caterers brought in this huge metal vat of soup, and it was, like Vancouver, it's raining all the time. It was perfect. It's one of my favorite memories from the show, and they got their day. They got it done. And we didn't get our interview, but that was okay. We got to watch them work. We got to watch them rally around one another, the whole crew, to make sure that actor got the dialogue out, and they got through it.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about meeting fans at these conventions.
Oh, I love it.
You've had the pleasure of doing GateCon a few times. That's my favorite.
I love it. I mean, I've been over to Europe a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I've been, I should have, if I had to get on it earlier, I could have done many more. I was just, no pun intended, late to the gate. But but I did enough, where I had a lot of fun. A lot of my buddies, like McGillian and I, did a few together, and we've been on stage together a few times and doing some panels. And man, one thing I realized when I was in Germany, a lot of the German fans that I met, most of them, their vocabulary in English, they only knew because of watching Stargate.
That's right.
I didn't know that. So it's like, so they joke about it with themselves that a lot of the dialogue, they don't use in everyday life, but, they know it. And so, I was impressed with that. And some of their English was quite good. And, but all of it learned from watching episode after episode after episode of their favorite show in the universe.
I am amazed at the penetration that Stargate has had in, Europe and broader as well. The number of people who fans I've talked to, who part of the reason that they know the English that they know is because of Stargate. They turned off the dub and watched it in English,
which I was going to get. But that in itself, right? I mean, is fandom times 100. I mean, that's like So taking my level of thinking to that place, that they turned off the dubbing of their own language to watch it in its pure form. Wow.
Apparently some of them really suck.
And then turtle language.
Yeah. It's not an easy one to get.
No, when you think about it, it's not. It's quite remarkable.
My understanding is that I'd so badly do an episode on Stargate dubs for the different, take one big scene and listen to the different, because apparently not all dubs are created equal.
Ain't that the truth?
Jeez.
I mean, I've met so many wonderful, crazy fans. I met a lot of people that got married from conventions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Not one, not two, like probably 10 couples over the years that, and they're, they plan their vacations, around conventions and just the I'll be honest. I mean, the type of personalities collectively is a little bit different than mine, but I'm not a judging person. I'm always going into each situation with an open mind and just enjoying whatever's happening around me. So I learned a lot from the fans that helped me be, even a better person to learn and appreciate the joy that so many people got from the show.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even I've talked to so many fans over the years, and it's been so nice.
They're from so many different places around the world, and
Mm.
Stargate has been the thing that's brought them all together. But they're still their own unique individuals from their own cultures, and that in itself is cool because it's like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm eating this. We do this, and it's like, really? And where
Yeah,
does that come from? Or I Wikipedia it later. I'm like, oh, there's a whole thing to this part of their culture that it doesn't even occur, to me to
yeah.
ask or for them to tell. They just do. So it's
And
kind of
how
wild.
how cool is that they actually take action on that too? Because we all have our unique characteristics, hobbies, whatever they may be, that we share by ourselves or maybe with a small community or whatever. But to have a global village of that where you can meet and just have that nugget in common and forget about all your other stuff and just share that joy of whatever that piece is, in this case, Stargate, like that's friggin' awesome,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can feel the camaraderie and the love and
Mm-hmm.
the joy and the craziness and just everybody's a kid at a convention, right? And
Absolutely.
it's fun, man. I enjoyed every one of them.
Do you have 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
I have a few fan questions for you. I'll be quick.
Okay.
Lockwatcher, what was the production quality like on Stargate compared to some of the other shows that you've done?
It was top
It was
notch. I
top.
mean, yeah, yeah, it
Okay.
was definitely. I mean, as time went on, as technology went on, but if you're talking about production quality on the screen on TV, yeah, it was. I mean, it was an A+ show. I mean, they had all the best people working on it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Meep Meep 189. What do you think Malcolm Agent Barrett is up to all these years later? Do you think he's still with the Force? Do you think he's chilled out?
No, no, he's chilled out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a coconut drink under a tree somewhere, and I'm sure his girlfriend is reminding him in some way, shape, or form of Carter, uh, because he has a type.
Yeah.
So, but he's enjoying himself. That chill aspect that you saw
Yeah.
of Barrett, I think he lives that quite fully now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisk, what do we have to do to get you to come to Australia for Oz Comic Con? I've not heard of this convention, but
Miss
Australia
Carrie,
sounds good.
I know Carrie.
Oh,
What do you have to do? I don't know. Somebody invite me. I mean, I'm not in that world anymore. But if I get a phone call from one of my agents, I'm easy to track down. For those of you, I mean, I have a lot of Stargate followers on my Instagram, but it's Peter B. Flemming, Flemming. Um, start the conversation there. Talk to your local convention people.
yeah.
Um, I think I still have agents for that. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But
There's contact information for those who are
for
want to come.
somebody,
Yeah.
somebody wants Barrett in their hometown, then yeah, I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can make it happen. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um Marcia, you had a couple of scenes in the miniseries The Atomic Train, and Don S. Davis was also in that series. Did you ever cross paths with Don, or were you on set together? And was that the first time that you had worked with him? Miss Don.
Don Davis?
Yeah, Don Davis.
Yeah. I think we did have one scene together. Oh, that was a while ago, Atomic Train. I remember flying in a helicopter on that. That was pretty cool. A military helicopter. We had one small scene. I don't watch my stuff. Sorry. I don't watch a lot of
No,
my
it's okay.
stuff. I'm sorry, whoever asked that question. I can't remember, but I do remember speaking with Don. And I think we had a small scene together. Yeah. Yeah.
People are
I'm
with
sure
us.
a lot of the Gators miss him. I know he was a really nice guy.
Another force. So
Yeah.
absolutely. Peter, this has been really cool to catch up with you.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally made this happen. For everyone out there, I've been chasing him since before the show has started, and it's like,
I'm sorry, I'm not the easiest guy to interview. I say no sometimes, so I do appreciate you asking me again, because I really enjoyed this. And any Stargate fans out there, I'm happy to have conversation with you. If you connect with me on Instagram, come say hi. There's many Gators out there that follow me, and there's lots of great photos up there and memories and stuff. So yeah, please come on Peter B. Flemming on Instagram and say hi.
Gotcha.
You're a rock star. Thank you so much. You're so good at what you do. 45 minutes went by like
Sir, you've always been a tremendous pleasure, and one of my favorites to sit down and talk with. So I appreciate you taking the time, truly, and hope to see you. Hope to see you not too long from now. So,
you bet. Thanks again, David.
Be well, Peter.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, man.
Thank you.
Peter Flemming, Agent Malcolm Barrett, Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis. Yeah, we go way back during the production of the show, and met up at a convention a few years ago and had a chance to catch up. And when I started working on Dial the Gate, he was one of the first ones that I reach out to, and just it takes a little while to make the schedule work. But let me tell you something, you never give up, because it eventually, people who care about you make the time. So we appreciate you tuning in. I've got a number of episodes heading your way very shortly here this weekend. This is going to be a big one. Tori Higginson and Rachel Luttrell are joining us live Saturday, June the 8th. At 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Elizabeth Weir and Taylor Morgan. They're going to sit down with us here at Dial the Gate and catch up. And I haven't had Tori since the 100th episode of the show, so I'm really excited to have her back and sit down with her. There's a couple of things I want to clear up with Tori about certain fan questions that continue to... is matriculate the right word? Like arise to the surface, particularly for whatever reason. People think that she wasn't in the old Weir makeup for Before I Sleep, because they see that there was an IMDb profile for the old Weir character. And so we're going to do a little bit of clearing up of that, because Before I Sleep is one of my favorite episodes. We just had Gilbert Jackson on to discuss that. So that's going to be Saturday, June the 8th. Stargate Timekeepers, Episode 1, hosted by Jeff Gulka. That's going to be live Sunday, June the 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then the following Saturday, June the 15th, Anne-Marie Deloise and Peter Deloise are going to be joining us to sit down and catch up. So I've always just had tremendous respect for Anne-Marie, and she's another one that's you keep on asking, if you truly want to have a conversation with someone, and you're sincere, sometimes you can just make it happen. So really looking forward to having Anne-Marie and Peter on. Dial the Gate. Let me back up. I do have a question here submitted to me real quick. Let me see before I let you all go. Yuki at home. Has anyone interviewed David Reed yet? I feel like there are probably lots of stories that need to be part of this project. Well, I mean, like I've demonstrated in this episode, I try to work in a story that I have once or twice in an episode. This episode was particularly a longer story in terms of being on set for Deus Machina. But the episodes that really do feature me heavily here. Let me pull this up. Dial the Gate, all interviews. So dialthegate.com, I'm here. I might as well say it. People are like, well, I'm missing some interviews on YouTube. And it's like, well, depending on which column you're looking at, you're not going to see them all. So by going to dialthegate.com, this is the way that I really recommend it. Over here to Dial the Gate episodes and all interviews. And this organizes them in reverse all the way back, except for like one interview, which for whatever reason has gotten stuck and doesn't display here. But they're all featured here, and all the pretty artwork all the way down. So this is one of my favorite resources for when I am researching stuff and trying to figure out who I've talked to on what project. But if you keep on going down here, so that's everything. If you go to, let me see if I can find it, 65 and 66 highlights from our first 6 months, part 1 and 2. WonderCon AMA special, episode 067. Jenny Stiven of Clio Consulting interviews me. So if you're looking for that one, that's probably like where most of my story is, along with this one. Oh, and there's Cliff right there. This one right down here, the premiere episode. And it's 3 hours long, the first conversation that I had with Darren Sumner of Gateworld. Gateworld's turning 25 this year, and that's on our dashboard as well for an episode, because we're going to celebrate Gateworld's turning 25. But those are the 2 episodes that if you want to hear more of my story, that's where they really are. And there is some overlap in terms of those conversations as well. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to see more Stargate like this, please click the like button. Makes a difference with YouTube and will continue to help the show grow its audience. Please also consider sharing this video with a Stargate friend. And if you want to get notified about future episodes, click subscribe. And giving the bell icon a click will notify you the moment a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes. Particularly key if you plan on watching live, because things do change in terms of dates and times. And clips from this live stream will be released over the course of the next few weeks on both the Dial the Gate and GateWorld.net YouTube channels. My tremendous thanks to Tracy, Anthony, Jeremy, Marcia, Summer, my mods, my personal rock stars. Can't thank you guys enough. My producer, Linda Gate Gabber Fury, Frederick Marcoux at Concepts Web, who keeps dialthegate.com up and running, Bryce, Matt, my graphics guys. Can't thank them. I can't do any of that. The amazing work that they've been continuing to do. A lot of new shows are heading your way throughout season 4 here, and they're all listed on dialthegate.com for the dates and times. That's the best place to be up to date on all of them. Hope you enjoyed our earlier episode today, cracking open the filmed and unaired episodes of what would have been Stargate Atlantis Season 6. That's available in the catalog now. My name is David Reed for Dial the Gate, and I'll see you on the other side.